Welcome to the No Ideas Original Podcast. We're back. I
Yeah,
feel like we've been on hiatus for a minute, but it really has. It's only been like 2 weeks. Our last time on was when we interviewed Dr. Dre.
yeah, bro. I think the summertime just opens up other shit to happen. So you get pulled in so many different directions, and it happens, bro. But I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. I got a lot of good feedback though on the Dr. Dre discussion. People seem to like it.
Really good stuff.
Hmm.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
people,
Yeah, that was
people.
a great conversation, man. And he said he would give us a part two, part three. We can talk
Yeah,
about that book. I think I may need to get the book first before we have him back. If I
yeah.
can,
That'd be cool. I mean, yo, he may be. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't find his way somehow back into like radio. I don't know if you've seen this, but in New York they got 94.7 now, and
yes,
it's like
sir.
the home of old school. And I'm like, damn, yo, they putting together a roster. They got Miss Jones supposed to do the morning. I think they got Nick Cannon doing the afternoon or something like that. They got Mr. C.
You know what's crazy, Sean? I can get 94.7 right outside my door. If I sit in my driveway,
Really?
I can blast that shit with no scratchy nothing. It's
Mm.
crazy.
See, I can't. Only way I get it is when I get on 684. I had it on 684 to get it. But yo, to me,
Man.
the station is refreshing, honestly.
Well, look, one of the things I wanted to bring up in that interview with him was that um, what was it T Boogie, who was part of
T Money.
T Money, T Money, and Ed Lover were getting back to doing that type of variety of
Mm-hmm.
show with the three of them, but as a podcast, I think on the radio too. So I think, but Ed Lover's on there, so maybe that's part of it.
Yeah. And Love is on 94.7 also.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
there it
I
goes.
wanted to bring that up when we had the chance, but we.
Mm. Yeah, there you go. Yo, so it's just us today, but we got a lot of topics. I'm gonna tell people in advance. Some of these topics, they may be, a week or two old, but we want to give our take because we have an opportunity to really weigh in on
Right,
them publicly. So
right,
today we're gonna talk a little bit about Biden signing legislation regarding the PPP loans that extends prosecutors' ability to prosecute from 2 years to 10 years. We're gonna talk about the MPOX outbreak that's going on.
Don't want to say the whole word now.
Yeah, we're gonna give our opinion on Bishop Whitehead getting robbed at his church. Everybody knows or has an opinion also about Sesame Place and the characters and the discrimination. And then lastly, we're gonna talk a little bit about Russia and China teaming up for a new global reserve currency. So let's get right to it. Um, Joe Biden signs this legislation allowing more time to prosecute PPP fraud. What's your thoughts on this, Rob? Do we need it?
Listen, man, the dragnet is out. A lot of these people been out here fraudulently. They give out a lot of money, man. In 2020, Small Business Administration, they identified 78 billion in potential fraudulent loans and grants paid.
$78 billion worth of
78 billion in potential fraudulent loans and grants paid to an eligible entity. So my thing is, all right, did y'all do any screening? How does people get all this money, son?
Yo, it was actually
what was the screening requirements? And then another 6 billion of loans and grants linked to alleged identity theft. Now we can jump right into the pastor with that one, but we need to stay here just a little bit. Listen, man. I mean, at a time like that, those loans, them PPP loans, was paycheck. What's it called? Paycheck
protection
for small businesses to continue to pay their employees.
Yep.
That's what that was for. Not for niggas to go on Tulum. You know what happened? No response, son. When PPP came out, Tulum became the new spot outside of Cancun to go to Mexico out of nowhere.
Tulum.
Trips to Tulum. Let me tell you something. If he's extending it 10 years, it's a lot of niggas getting locked up, bro.
Yo,
a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a lot of people that's gonna get jammed up. The reporting of it was I wouldn't say that it was a rigorous application process, but
it couldn't be.
It required it. You know what? It required a lot of information, and his was troubling to me. The information that they asked for if you went to the lengths to defraud the government, you could have actually legitimately created a company.
Right.
You know, like, because they was asking, all right, we need to see your payroll, you know, for X amount of weeks or whatever to show what your actual payroll is. There wasn't just an amount that you requested. I think it was based on what your actual payroll was, and that's the amount that they awarded people. I feel like that a lot of people got roped into the flashiness of what they saw on Instagram, and like you said, Tulum, private jets, a lot of Gucci, a lot of popping bottles and all that, and people thinking that they were going to get away with it. And the reason why I think that the money was flowing so freely is because I feel like that the government was in a position where there was such backlash around, you know, supporting small businesses, and also, frankly, to be honest with you, they want to try to keep the economy afloat. So they started pumping all that money in to these businesses without having more discretion. So now here we are, we on the back end, and we looking at it after the fact, you know, and I'm sure a lot of cases have probably been built on the strength of Instagram. Like, oh, I see, you know, oh, TJ Money had a private jet. If you look at, you know, his most recent photos, but before that, he had showing you how to make ramen noodles.
Driving a Honda Accord. Like, what's going on? But this is my thing. Where did all that money come from? I mean, I know we print money. But Lord knows, if you're looking for $78 billion in ineligible entities, yo, son, you want money? Here you go. Yeah. But I think your maximum amount you could be loaned was close to $2 million. Then it raised. Then was a red flag that was raised. Like, why would someone need $2 million?
Yo, you know something?
500,000. You was getting that?
Did you know something though? Did you hear about that? The Lakers had got one for $1 million.
I believe it.
They did. It was like public knowledge.
Incredible though.
The Lakers got one for $1 million, and I think they gave it back. I think a lot of businesses were just applying, and businesses were getting it. Now, to me, what's really unfortunate about it is, imagine if you did have a legitimate business that you were trying to keep afloat,
right? And
you couldn't get it. Because I remember when the first round came out, it came and went, and it was like people that were outside looking and couldn't get it. So, you know, we know where my mind goes to. Remember the couple that we interviewed, Hemp Source?
Yep.
Like, yo, what about a couple like that have a startup, you know, hemp business, and they trying to make money, and then they take the hit from the pandemic, and they need that money to stay afloat, to keep their business afloat, pay their employees,
right?
You know, and their operating costs and things like that, and they can't get it, but somebody else is over here getting a crazy Cuban link, you know, or a Rolly or whatever it is, you know, like that. That to me is the part that's like disturbing and hurtful. And I don't feel bad for people who get caught up in it. Like, yo, to me, I always feel like sometimes when things are too good to be true, they usually are.
Yes, and like that became a thing with the PPP thing, man. You was able to get it in 2 weeks. You had up to 8 weeks to use it, and then after that final date of using whatever money you used, then you had 10 months before you made your first payment. So people were living like, I ain't got to pay until when? Oh, yeah. I could get this done. But nah, niggas was just out there flashing cash.
Yo, they pump so much money though. Think about how much money was pumped into the economy during the pandemic. They billions of dollars in this.
Yes, sir.
God only knows how much by way of the stimulus, you know. Right. And it makes me think like what you were saying. You're like, all right, yo, so where all this money came from? But then we got all these other issues in this country that people always talking about. We can't fund that. We can't afford to fund that. Or even the stuff with student loans. Like, yo, you can't afford to let go of student loan debt, but you go afford to throw out all this money. And a lot of that money, low key, a lot of that money is going to be forgiven. Like, even the legitimate loans, a lot of that money is going to be forgiven.
It's going to be forgiven. That's right.
You know, so
the penalty is $1 million fine and 30 years in federal penitentiary.
Yo, well,
if you're caught fraudulent,
well, you know, they're going to have a lot of dudes on a payment plan for the rest of their life to get that million.
You know what I'm saying? If you're doing 30 years to pay that shit off, yeah, you might as well just cash it up, bro.
Yeah, to get that million up, yo, that's a crazy payment right there. $1 million, yo. Let me do the math with that real quick. So $1 million for you said 30 years, right?
Yeah, it's $1 million fine and 30 years in the federal penitentiary. Woo, it's gonna cook somebody's ass, boy.
Right.
for anybody out there who ain't got their shit in square, if your joint ain't on level ground, man,
Yo, that's about $2,800 a month for how you call it for 30 years. Like, yo,
listen,
I'm not saying that dudes don't got it, because here's the thing, yo, who's to say that maybe somebody didn't take the money and use it to create a legal, legitimate business? I mean, that's not going to change the fact that they're going to prosecute you and you still going to get the jail time. Yeah. But maybe somebody did.
I'm thinking, what was it? One of these IG fashion, whoever was on IG said, I got a staff of 10. They take pictures. You know what I'm saying? I got a company that's on IG. I don't know, but for those who try to, scam and cut things short, God bless you, bro, because they coming for your ass. They got 10 years to get that money back. Trust me, when they want their bread, they knocking at your door, son.
Yeah.
I can put my business out there, but I had an old rental company when I used to live in Maryland, like 2007. The niggas found my ass, son. It's like you breach a contract. I said, what? I ain't lived down there in like 30 years. What are you talking about? But I fought it, and I was forgiven for it.
But they try to get you for a couple of dollars.
The lady wanted they wanted the last 2 months security and all that shit.
Damn.
Now, because what it was, right, is that if you don't give them notice that you're leaving, they want you to give the month and the next month or something like that. So when I left, I just left. I never renewed the lease. I just left. I left on time. I paid my last month's rent. October 1st, the apartment was empty. I was gone. But according to contract, which I was in fault of, is that you got to give them 60 days notice. So they can find someone to fill your apartment when you leave, and nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing is ever missing. They got to go in there, clean it up.
Yeah,
cleaned up and have somebody come in there. So
yeah,
bro.
Didn't they catch the dude from Pretty Ricky with the PPP loan?
Yes, 30 years, nigga, and $1 million fine. You're cooked.
Yeah,
go make a song with R. Kelly now.
Yeah. So I think the moral of the story is like, people who were probably sweating it out for 2 years, now you got to sweat it out a little bit longer. Wait. I couldn't imagine just sitting around waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, damn, it's gonna come a time where I get that knock on the door where the Fed rolled up, snatch me up for this bread. And who knows how much people actually got? Because me personally, like if people's getting like 30 grand or 50 grand or whatever, like, do you want to deal with the consequences of getting a $30,000 or $50,000 check?
Who've never got a $50,000, $30,000 check?
Yeah, like, I mean, but to me it ain't worth it. That'd be 30 grand or 50 grand. They could have back. You get $1 grand for each year you do in jail.
That's it, bro. And they're gonna have all the time in the world to think about it. Damn, that Tulum trip, that shit was dope.
A week in Tulum.
You be sitting in the mess hall thinking about fucking Tulum, eating mush.
Said you went from Tulum to the tombs.
For real, son.
Oh man, switching gears, man, So the new hot button ailment or illness, and I'm trying to pick and choose my words carefully around this, is Mpox. And the reason why I'm trying to pick and choose my words carefully around this is because I don't know if you saw recently, Rob, but there's like a lot of there's more accountability, it seems like, for people that come on YouTube and talk reckless now, like the Alex Jones dude.
His ass in hot water.
They jammed him up. Well, they didn't jam him up. He got to pay. He got to pay for what he did.
Right.
For misinformation. They had the Tasha K lady. So I say all this to say that I think that I want to be careful about how I talk about this as it relates to anything that's conspiracy theory related, because I just believe that that again, like, there's a lot going on by way of people attempting to hold folks accountable for stuff, whether it be the truth or it be misinformation. There's a lot of eyes on the things that people are saying now. Some of the eyes may be government, some of the eyes may be individual entities, but people look at this stuff and they formulate opinions, around it. So my theory in looking at this is like I kind of feel that now we sort of falling into this routine of fear mongering. Like every other week, I get some sort of alert about some new virus that's coming out, and following the virus is usually vaccination as it relates to the virus. And the reason why I say fear mongering is I'm like I don't know if it's fear mongering from the standpoint of fear mongering and you should be concerned because these are the things that's out there and now we hypersensitive because we got hit with the pandemic, or if it's fear mongering and in terms of you need to be taking your inoculations or whatever it is. But either way, I think that is something that's been created to instill fear in us as people, and I think it's easy now for us to for them to manifest fear from us based on everybody having had that experience that this is that could really happen. You add that with a heightened sense of awareness, to me that's a recipe for disaster. So now when I see a lot of this stuff coming out, I'm kind of looking at it sideways with like a grain of salt. And I'm like, what? This is the new thing of the week that's going on. So I'm just leery. I'm leery and I'm a little skeptical. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but I'm not fully sold on it yet. What are your thoughts about this?
There are so many cans of worms open on this. This was named a public health emergency on an international concern. I'm hearing a lot of different things. Latest CDC breakdown: monkeypox is hit disproportionately black and brown Hispanic people.
Seem like that's with everything.
Pretty much, we always getting attacked with shit. Let me tell you something, man. All things need to be researched because when you look at monkeypox, where monkeypox comes from, right? If you dig a little deeper, this is a derivative of smallpox. And if anyone was born before 1971, you've already been inoculated for smallpox. So I wouldn't worry as much when it comes to that. But this is something that's hitting a lot of people, a lot of areas, so to speak, when you watch the news. I myself, because of the pandemic, I keep myself kind of in, not too many overpopulated areas. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Because something, and you can catch hepatitis C, you can catch all that from going to the fucking gas station, hitting the pump. Yep. And I know not everyone wears gloves. Don't even front. You go over and grab that pump like everybody else. But then you go on there, you might do your little sanitize when you get in there. But that happens. I mean, I hate for it to be a alternative lifestyle thing because then you hear, it started with gender men or gay men or whatever. I hate for them to get that lash for that. But I think the CDC also mentioned on there this new thing about anal sex and anal behavior, and that can go so many different ways. I know that this young world, their lifestyle, they're full of sex, yo. Their lifestyles are just out there. They're doing all sorts of things, between OnlyFans and all this other shit they got going on the internet. Let me tell you something, man. There's a lot of cyber thotting going on. It's out of control. And some young women are making a lot of money doing this shit. I don't agree with it, but it's the truth. But it's just no one's using contraceptives no more. So like, niggas, fuck safe. I'm just gonna live my life wild out. You know what I mean? And I heard it said that now that monkeypox is becoming an epidemic, some young people be like, but now I can't have fun, meaning I can't have sex openly the way that I want to have sex.
Damn.
Listen, man, to each his own. However you choose to play with it, dig with it, that's your business. But I think people should also always be concerned about your health and your safety of where you're going. We live in a world right now where fear mongering is happening.
Exactly.
Very rapidly. So, I wouldn't jump to conclusions when you hear this is happening or this is an outbreak and this is going on. Always take a look at the environment you're living in. Like when a man told me, he said, "Yo, Rob, ain't no scared somebody. Look out your window. You see every UPS truck, bus, everything is moving. But they got you thinking there's no oil, there's no money, there's no nothing. People are starving. Let me tell you the best way. My wife and I, we hear about food shortage. We're fortunate enough to have a membership at Restaurant Depot.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't a fucking shortage in that place, bro. Nothing is short in us. I'm saying to myself, so restaurant community is a lot different than supermarkets, but they got the same products and then you see the same thing. But when you go to, I could go to ShopRite or Stop and Shop and like, damn, why ain't no cranberry juice here? Let me go to Home Food Restaurant Depot. It's an aisle full of that shit.
You know what that's about too, though. Some of that is about like inflation, like driving up the price on stuff.
Yeah.
Tell people that it's in limited demand, you can
Right.
mark it up drastically.
Which is another fear tactic. So now you got people running the store grabbing up Lysol and all sorts of shit. You know, monkeypox, chicken pox, anybody pox. There's one brother I remember. He was saying, "Yo, this is just we're in the era of bio warfare and chemical warfare. So just be mindful of hearing these terms: vaccination, inoculation, viruses, because we're going to hear them for the next couple of years." He said they might even create some shit called the mouse pox. You know what I'm saying? That's going to affect everyone who has rodent issues in their home. So
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. It kind of reminds me again, like the fear mongering, like, you know, and this may not be the best analogy, so I'm gonna apologize in advance if anybody finds this to be offensive. But I remember after 9/11, you know, as a country, we walked around talking about we on orange alert, we on whatever alert or whatever it is. I don't know if you remember this, Rob, but that was a thing. That was a very real thing in everybody's life. Like, you know, we on orange alert or it's red alert today or whatever it is, you know, and it created like a sense of hypervigilance in people because everybody was sensitive based on the events that occurred on 9/11. And I feel like that because of the pandemic, you know, some of that has been restored in us in terms of being on alert, you know, like, oh, you know, so
right.
Now any little thing that comes up, you know, it becomes a CDC issue. It's spoken about to the masses. It's in the media, you know, and you know, I appreciate the willingness and the desire to not allow it to get to what the pandemic was. If that's what is, if people say, you know,
I don't mean to cut you with, but that's why I say it's fear mongering because the numbers don't even match the pandemic.
Yeah, the numbers
since May, since the first case in May, there's only been about 6,000, 7,000 cases.
6,000, I think, is what I heard.
6,000 cases.
But you know why? You know what they plan on?
That's fluid in that. The fuck?
They're playing on though when how you call it, when COVID first came out, when we first heard about COVID, it was the same thing. It was like the numbers were small, you know, and it was like, oh, you have no reason to be concerned. So again, like that's what I said, like everybody becomes hypersensitive, you know, and now it's gonna be all right. You go to the doctor when your kid is born, like, yo, here's a series of 127 shots that your kids have.
Kids now they getting jabbed with everything, son,
or whatever, you know. So again, like I'm not trying to diminish the importance of it or say it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that how can we live as people, or how can we live as a society if we're so hypersensitive that, you know, we move around where everything that comes across the screen has us living in fear. And I used to hear people say this a lot, and I didn't really subscribe to it but so much, but I think about like when we were younger and we were more exposed to the elements outside, outdoors playing, and the difference in our immune systems versus the difference in the kids today immune systems, right? Like we were probably introduced to God only knows what as kids because we were outdoors in the elements doing whatever it was. If you out playing in the dirt, playing in a lot, flipping on a pissy mattress, whatever it is you was doing.
I got poked with 2 lead pencils as a kid, and I stepped on a rusty nail, and I never went and got no shot.
Mm-hmm. Well, now if that happens, you probably have to have 17 tetanus shots. But yeah, I use that as an example just to say,
right.
So, like, it's an evolution and a change in things, and I'm not necessarily convinced that it's been a change for better, you know. And I do think that it serves a higher purpose, like, you know, like to keep people constantly alert, you know, and there probably is another agenda behind it. I don't want to over speculate on what the agenda may be, though.
Just be, don't be hyper about it. Just
Exactly.
be aware.
Exactly.
Be aware that, you know, if the CDC or the news mention there's an outbreak in this, you know, be concerned, but don't be so germophobic that, you know, I can't go here, I can't, because that's when you set you set yourself up for panic and anxiety. So when that does happen, or if it does occur, or if it does become pronounced, now your panic turns into straight shookness. You don't want to do that to yourself, man. There's a lot going on about this Mpox thing, and just watch the trend of it, because, you know, here we go, we're going into school. You know, school is about to be open. Will that delay school? How's that going to happen? It always happens right before flu season. That's around the corner. People, let me tell you something. That's why I said to people all the time, man, every 20 years, look how the world, there's always a situation that's going to throw you a curveball to have you either in fear or away from what you've been doing. And the world today is awakening so much faster than it did 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
People are doing research. The fact that we got these laptops and these phones and these abilities to go look for information anywhere, you can't just fool someone. Can the devil fool a Muslim? No. You know what I'm saying? Because the Muslim did some, let me find out what this nigga talk about. You know what I'm saying? He did some research. He come to find out, this thing, what is this? This is not what they're saying on TV. I'm reading it right here. Because I tell you right now, I did a little research on monkeypox, and I think I went to the Department of Labor, and the Department of Labor, because they pay scientists and labs to mess with shit. This is a derivative of smallpox. Given to some wild animal because they in them fucking labs, and this is the result of it. Now how it got administered to the public, you know, my hands are tied. But you know,
you'll get that information soon, though.
Yeah, but these things, Ebola, all these things have patents on. Fuck, you got a patent on a virus. I mean, to the point I think they totally were supposed to totally obliterate, how you say that word, smallpox. Like, that's supposed to have been done with. It's supposed to never show up ever again. But here we get this new one. And you come to find out there was still some vials left. They didn't throw them all away. They kept 2 of them. And now they want to mutate these. Tell you, we live in some, you want to know where your tax money's going? Yeah, right.
To that and PPP loans.
To that PPP loan and into the lab and fucking
you know what? So that's a good time. It's a good investment. Find out who's leading the charge on the vaccination for it, and invest in it now.
Follow the money, son. And you know exactly why it'll either blow up or it won't blow up.
What are your thoughts about Bishop Whitehead? You know, getting robbed at his church, man. I think I got an unpopular opinion on this, man. Like, yo, my opinion on this is like, yo, he got a lot of backlash, and people was on him for his flash and for, you know, his style and his jewels and all that stuff. Like, yo, I personally feel honestly that to me, okay, so he has another situation that's much more alarming, where allegedly he took $90,000 from a woman that he was supposed to be helping to get a home. That to me is a lot more concerning than what he gets from his congregation. And the reason why I think that I'm not overly concerned about what he gets from his congregation is because I've kind of put accountability back on the congregation. Like, you come here every week or however many times a week that they have service. You look, you see him in a Gucci suit, you see him with all these chains on and everything, but yet you still feel compelled to reach into your pocket or your pocketbook, your wallet, and tithe and give him money and things like that. So to me, I look at it and I'm like, if he's up there and he's asking for donations, soliciting donations, and you're giving the money
to the fly god,
is that not more so about you? Now, the thing that I hear people talk about is this man's humility. And I wonder, yo, I would ask you, like, yo, why is it that we, for some reason, we misconstrue or we believe that if a person has nice things, they don't have humility? Have you noticed that there's like, for some reason, there's this direct correlation, like, yo, if you got a really nice car, a really nice house, some jewelry, watches, whatever it is, yo, you're not humble. Like, how, what? I don't, you know, and I
I don't get that either, man. And because they think money, some people think money breeds arrogance and, and a condescending attitude because I'm above or I'm above you. I can have these things, which is absolutely not true. It doesn't do this. But this case, this guy has enough of a track record that leaves questions and holes about what he's doing. Now, a pastor can wear what he wants. I've seen some flashy pastors.
Yo,
I've
Rob, hold
seen,
on, Rob, hold on, not to cut you off, but yo, we was growing up. What kind of car every pastor had?
Cadillac.
Exactly. Exactly. And where they got that Cadillac from? So we acting like this is a new thing in 2022?
Cadillac. But you know, dude is rolling in a Urus Lamborghini truck, which is like, if you know the price, you know the price.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, man. And he got a lot of cars, but then a lot of his cars, you know, he had what he had? He owes a construction company $40K for work on his house, a credit union, a financing credit union for his Benz and his Range Rover. So he's already in debt. I think the dude is a professional con artist. And what way to use it by using it to be
allegedly,
okay, a con artist, and now appeared to be allegedly a pastor. Listen, man, when you mess with people's emotions, when it comes to God, that's a tall order, man. Cause you're like you said, you're up there, you're Gucci, you Louis down, and you got a small congregation. Your congregation ain't big, bro. And the first thing you ask for during tithing is anyone have $1,000. You mean you're in the middle of Brooklyn? It's not like you're in an affluent area of Brooklyn asking $1,000, but you're in a regular area off was on the top of a Haitian restaurant.
Yeah, his church definitely wasn't.
And I'm not judging. That's the thing. People are like, yo, you shouldn't judge. Look, I'm not judging. I'm just taking account for what I see, and I have to come to a consortium of saying this is my answer. So I have to put some judging behind. I have to evaluate what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing is someone who's just using the pulpit, as we know many of pastors do, to garnish whatever his luxury and his lifestyle is, and he's using the Bible and the church to do that. I mean, that's just my take on it. Be honest.
Well, look at it. I look at it this way too, or whatever. Like the coins that he making is probably peanuts compared to like a Joel Osteen, a Creflo Dollar.
He proves himself to be a great orator. Let me tell you the power of words. And that's why you gotta be careful how people speak. People are great tonality and how to use words to drive you in. But people don't know the power of words and the vibrational tone of words, you can get sucked in by what people say. They done it to me as a kid. You be on 4 in a row, they were like, yeah, sure, you got 20, I got 3 column. Before you know it, gave your money playing cards in the middle of fucking VIM somewhere.
Look, it's funny you say that though, Rob, because that's exactly where I was going. I think the difference between him, that what upsets people about him versus some of the other pastors, is that the other pastors come across as much more polished than him, right? Like, so they have the physical plant with the mega church, or they have what appears to be a much more polished ministry, for lack of a better word. But everywhere we go, you go out in the street, somebody is soliciting, trying to get money out of you. You turn on the TV, they got the dogs with one eye or whatever pulling at your heartstrings. You come on YouTube, I turn on YouTube sometimes. There's dudes on YouTube like, throw something in my cash app. Give me $5. Let me hold $10. Give me 15. Whatever it is, like. And to me, I look at it and I say, like, as far as donations are concerned, from me, I donate to the causes that speak to me, right? So if it's a cause that speaks to me, I'm gonna vet that cause and be like, okay, is this a place that's worthy of me giving my money to? I don't know if everybody else is going to actually go through the vetting process to see if this is a person or place or what entity, whatever it is, that's worthy of actually receiving your money. And I think that the people who are soliciting this money know how to work that to their advantage, right? To kind of, for lack of a better word, manipulate people who, who are good people who want to contribute, whether they think they're contributing specifically to that person's advancement, whether they think they're contributing to the ministry, whatever it is. People put their faith in these people and these entities and all this stuff, and they think that they're doing it for a good cause. I turn that around though, and I say that at what point do we say to the people, like, if you're going to this church for the last 2 years and the only thing that you see improvement in is the pastor,
wardrobe,
exactly, and his jewelry and stuff like that, like at what point do you say, okay, because there's nowhere, probably the things that he's doing in terms of receiving those donations, I don't think that there's any law that says that that's illegal, and I'm assuming that he's ordained, unless he's not a pastor and he's portraying himself to be a man of clergy or whatever to get the donations out of people. But I think that we need to do a better job of actually stepping back and saying to the congregation, like, all right, we throwing all this money. And this is what I mean about the optics. Like the people who go to a Joel Osteen church, Joel Osteen's church, I think, was the old joint where the Houston Rockets used to play. So you could look around and you could say, like, all right, we giving, if I don't give my $50 tithes this week, Joel Osteen is going to be all right. But if you sitting in the heart of Brooklyn over the Haitian restaurant,
somewhere in Brownsville, and you coming out fly to the niggas in Brownsville. So I mean, that's always been an idea of mine as to how, the whole Christianity and how you become a pastor. Listen, man, religion is a tough thing when it comes to that, because you usurp the idea of God from so many people, but you don't tell them who God is. You keep the idea that there's this greater power outside of you, that you must be on your best behavior, or that greater power is going to ruin your life. Let alone you're ruining your life as we're speaking now by how you're thinking about yourself versus your image of what God is. But religion holds you to that, and it keeps you coming every week. And you pay your tithes because there's a building fund or the pastor's fund or the treasury fund. All these funds to maybe help the church build a pew or something like that, maybe to get, the choir robes. There are different things.
Don't forget the roof. Don't forget the roof.
The roof, the water fountain in the hallway needs to be fixed. We need a refrigerator. And you can't forget, make sure the stove is working in the kitchen, because we gotta cook these dinners. I get it, but if the congregation in the home, in the field of the church isn't showing that, you wearing these suits, bro. What about the place? Does the place look worthy? Are you richer than the place you're standing in? How you look better than the walls around here? How you look better than what the bathroom look like?
Yo, Rob.
This is my speculation.
Hold on, Rob. Before you go into that, let me. My counter to that, if I was him, I would be, well, the house you come to worship in doesn't need
to look like that.
Doesn't need to be immaculate. I may need to be immaculate, but it doesn't need to be immaculate. It's about worship and praise.
And that's semantics, man. Because,
but yeah, what you were saying?
We playing on words, man,
and emotions.
And that's what gets people, especially in religion, all the time. That's why you have your diehard Christians. Don't say nothing about Jesus, the niggas will stab you.
That's why,
any other religion, you say something about a lot of the wrong person, motherfucker want to take your head.
That's why I go back to the accountability on the congregation, because if you sitting around and you saying,
do no research on this dude, son.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, damn, yo, I'm really down to my last couple of $100. I got to make this work. I got to have a Metro card to get back and forth to work or whatever. But I need to pay my tithes, because the church need this or that or whatever. And you sit there and you look around and you like, damn, yo, the pastor got a Lambo, 2 Rollies, you know,
and it's easy to preach prosperity when you're looking at someone prosperous. That's like a drug dealer saying, "Look at me, son. You see this car I'm driving? Yeah, son. You just take this pack.
Yeah. So
you'll get here one day, but take this pack and come see me at the end of the week."
Yeah, I go back to like I said, I'm not saying that he's, you know, that I'm not going on a limb and vouching for him and saying that he's up and up and he's whatever it is. I don't know what the man doing because I'm not a member of his church. I'm just saying that I would like for people to actually conduct an interview with some of his congregation and find out what appeals to the congregation about them going to see him, because the same things that we see, Rob, from the outside, they see multiple times a week. They know that this man is, how you call it. But again, like you said, like playing on tone, emotions, you know, whatever the cause is. And then I think that as much as we talk about like they're bad people, I think that there are a lot of people that have an innate nature to want to be good people and want to be
absolutely.
And you know, and I think that those are the people that get sucked in to a lot of this stuff. They get sucked in, and then they become the people who finance these different things. So when I hear about the pastors with all the jewels and the caddies and all that or whatever, I'm like, I guess the congregation don't have a problem with it. When I go outside,
well, I tell you this, somebody's congregation had a problem because they robbed his ass live on TV, and I guarantee it was someone like, "Pastor's fly as shit, son. Hold on. What the fuck? Yo, I'm gonna get this thing on my paycheck and he's showing up."
You thought somebody was sitting in the third row of fold up chairs, like,
when I seen that, I was like, yeah, inside job all day.
There was speculation though that it was an inside job for insurance purposes. That's what people allegedly were saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, inside job, son. The usher, those are the ushers that was in the back holding the door other Sunday, son.
Yeah,
listen, man. That was too orchestrated for us to see that. Was it wild to see? We're like, yeah, but it's not the first.
It is Brooklyn though, so
it's not the first time I heard dudes run up in a church, robbing a church. That's happened in Baltimore a couple of times where there's a couple of churches I went to, security and Baltimore police were outside just as security. Like, damn, you got security.
It is Brooklyn though. It is Brooklyn, so maybe somebody did be like, plotting.
He's from the area too. He know everybody out there.
Yeah,
that's a crazy situation, man.
Yeah, so like I said, like I don't. When I turn on the TV and I see Sally Struthers and the animals and feed the kids, the hungry kids in Africa and this, that, or whatever, I look at the stuff and I'm like, oh, okay. I don't fault them. If I don't believe that it's legitimate, I look at the people and I say, I'm like, the fact that they could air this commercial means that somebody believes it and they subscribe to it. And to me, it's like those are the people that if you believe in that pastor, if you believe in the man on YouTube coming on saying, yo, give me whatever amount of dollars. If you believe in the person outside saying, yo, play this 3-card Molly. If you believe in, the person outside that's out there talking about they ain't feed their kids or whatever, you believe in that and you want to give your money to those causes, then to me, it's like, fine, you gave your money to those causes or whatever. There's always going to be somebody on the outside looking at it like, yo, you gave your money to this dude. This dude got 7 chains on.
That dude, you serious? That dude is wild out.
Listen,
man, just be mindful. You got. I hate to say it, but you have to question just about everything. Man.
That's a fact.
If it don't look right, it ain't right. Your intuition told you something is off about that.
Would you, if you remember that church? If you were a member of that church, would you be donating?
No. No, let me tell you something. There was one time I was so militant against church that I was really on my, white man, this, that, and the third. I'm not. Nope. I'm gonna stay natural. I'm gonna stay universal. It's funny. I'm kind of back in that mindset, but I understand life a little bit more. And then one day I met this girl in Baltimore, and she was a Christian or whatever. And she would say, I'm going to get you to come to church. I'm going to get you to come to church. I'm like, I ain't going to no fucking church. That shit, son. I went.
Next thing you know, you're like, hallelujah.
Listen, I went, right? And I told about the power of words. Anybody that's never been to church, go to church for the first time, tell you the pastor knows and he pays attention. He will come up with a word that will be designed just for you.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make it feel, because you've never been there, he's talking directly to you. Not knowing that there are about 5 million people with the same issue, whether it's credit, whether it's money, whether it's life, it's sex, it's things we go through all at the same time. We don't communicate to know we all going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And he tugged my strings, whatever. Before you know it, the next week I was there. I joined the church. Down benediction, I walked up to the front, shook the pastor's hand, went to the side. You go through the whole process. I even got baptized, bro.
Wow.
Right there in Baltimore. And after that, all this other shit started to come out.
About the pastor or the church?
About the pastor, about his lifestyle and what he was doing. And it's kind of a turn off, because the lessons that I've learned early, even while, attending this church, he was using words like wisdom and knowledge. And I'm like, I'm privy to that language, although it's not in a biblical sense.
He was dog whistling you.
Right. So, but if you're encouraging people to be knowledgeable about the things they do, I can stand behind that, because I know how important knowledge and having a sense of knowing is. So I stood behind that. I used to always vet. I used to always check his words to see if he's some grimy pastor trying to get my money. I throw my little $10 in there, or whatever. I've got my eye on everything moving, son. And make a long story short, it was so repetitive that I conditioned myself to go out. And there was days I'm like, I don't feel like I don't want to go. It didn't hold my attention. I don't know if that's because of how I was raised or what I've learned over the years, but it didn't grasp me how I seen it grasp others. Like my grandmother is a 60-year devout member of Burke Avenue Baptist Church.
Wow.
You say anything about Jesus, just smack the shit out of you. You know what I mean? So, but what I've known with pastors and people who are very oratorically gifted and how they use their words and how they use energy. And trust me, you will say hallelujah in that bitch. Because everyone is having start to feel it's like, why aren't I before you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's an energy in there. And you can easily get usurped, you can easily get pulled in if your will is weak. Now that my will is a lot different, I got my arms folded and I'm paying attention. Now I'm questioning. What that mean? What that you can't give me a right answer. Don't tell me go just believe, because I'm not going for just believe.
So what was the scandal associated with the pastor?
He had alternative lifestyle while he was married. So fortunately he was, I don't know if this was big in Baltimore, but there was a heavy gay population there.
And what happened? Somebody outed him?
It was like the down low before the down low in Atlanta, down low.
So what? Somebody outed him? Like somebody?
Yeah, somebody got wind of him having an affair with a guy or one of the members of the church, that type of thing. It got real.
He admitted it?
He didn't admit it, but he was like, you can't listen to everything you hear type of thing. But let's move on to chapter 5 of Satan. It was very shaky. And the crazy thing was that when you went after hearing that, the congregation dwindled. Just a little bit. It wasn't as packed, except for Mother's Day and all that. It stayed packed on those days. But
yeah,
he started to lose a couple of people. I left because I was saying to myself, did I join this church because of this girl, or did I join this church because I want to become a Christian? And it was more of because I wanted to be with the girl. So
you know what? I guess I don't know. Maybe it's wrong of me, but I don't hold pastors in a higher regard than other people. I look at them like that, like they're just like anybody else. They have
just like everybody else.
Yeah, that they have imperfections, like. And I know some people do hold their pastor, their bishop, they hold them in a higher regard.
They hold the Pope next to Jesus.
Yeah, to me, I just look. I'm like, this is a person that they're not perfect. They make mistakes, and
Absolutely.
so I don't hold them in that high of regard. But in any regard, in terms of Bishop Whitehead, I hope he find out who got them jewels so he get his ice back. But if he did do that stuff to that lady with that $90,000, like yo,
Yeah, what was that? I had that written down too.
that's super foul. And it was something like the woman said that
They
he was
gave
going
him
to.
90,000 of retirement money for a house.
Yeah.
She wanted it back. He said it was too late. It's been invested.
See, I
Meanwhile,
can't get with that.
but meanwhile, he's in contracts to build a $4.4 million house in New Jersey.
Yeah. See, I can't see stuff like that. I can't get with. I could get with if he up there giving the word and people feel compelled to donate because they receiving his word. But I can't get with you taking a lady for her how you call it, for her retirement money.
And that's why I called him a professional con artist, because you already have a history of identity theft, bro.
Yo, didn't he run for borough president too?
I don't know.
For Brooklyn borough president, I think he ran for.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But for one, he has a small congregation, so I don't know how you get in the millions and jewelry and all that stuff for you and your wife, because they're not tithing that much for you to have what you have. So he's supposed to be a realtor on the low.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? That's part of his lifestyle as well. Or is it a broker, realty broker, something like that? It just auto connect, because here it is, like you said. Take this lady's money. She wants it back because she probably found out who you were. It's invested, and you're about to build a $4.4 million home.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How do you go from the top of the fucking Haitian restaurant to damn near a mansion?
Yeah, that's crazy to me. So
Hopefully, to do.
Hopefully the sister get to the bottom get her back. Man, this has been popular in the news cycle recently. The discrimination of the characters at Sesame Place is gotten so popular that now they're showing other amusement parks where other people in these costumes potentially may have demonstrated discriminatory practices. I looked at the Sesame Place video. I saw that one. I seen one at Legoland also.
Yeah.
And I think when you look from that lens, it does look fishy. Like, yo, what the hell? Yo, what's going on here? Like,
you just tell them, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
That one little girl looked so distraught. Like, damn, she played me. She looked very hurt. Like, damn, Rosita, she didn't say hi to me. I'm waving like, hello.
So now there's a lawsuit, right? Isn't there a lawsuit in place where the parents are actually suing Sesame Place because of this?
Yeah, Sesame Place has a $25 million lawsuit against them from one of those videos. I think it's the initial video. But this is something that I'm hearing that's not it's not new when it comes to us, man. Coney Island and also in the Bronx Zoo in the 20s, man, they didn't let us in there. As a matter of fact, there was an attraction at Coney Island back then where they would use us as part of the attraction. It was called Hit a Nigga. Coney Island, Brooklyn, and the Bronx Zoo for other purposes. Even in the 1920s World's Fair, they had little pygmies. They were part of the attraction. Little black people, just dwarf size. They were brought to the attraction. So these scenarios have been going on when you go to amusement parks. Amusement parks, for some reason, weren't meant for us to enjoy. They were meant for other folks to enjoy.
So do you think this is a systemic issue, or you think this is an individual in a costume issue? Because I'm waiting to find out who's in it.
I'm gonna say individual in the costume, because I don't believe all those actors and those that are in the costumes are like that. I think it may be one or two in there who try to, because you can't see their face. And we all know those who do shit and can't see their face because they wear hoods. I won't say no names. I won't say no organization. But it's the coward way out, man, to deny a kid, just being a kid, man. And kids don't forget that shit. The little girl's gonna know. I remember when I was 5 years old and Rosita did not say nothing to me.
Yo,
You don't want that to be the kids.
None of these amusement parks would openly admit that that's their practice. None of them would. But the reason why I say is the systemic is because is there something that's in the training? Is there something that's in the training that underlying has some sort of discriminatory element to it? And I bring that up because, sometimes people get pissed off, if they're a police officer or if they're a teacher, that there are discriminatory practices that's in these institutions that's not specifically done by the actual individual, but it's just the design of how things are put together. They perpetuate it unknowingly because it's like, this is just how we've always done things. So, I'm thinking, I don't know what their training is, but maybe it's a value to find out what is the training to become one of these entertainers that go out. Let's see what the training looks like, because potentially in the training there may be something in there that inherently may be discriminatory that the actual individual doesn't realize. Maybe the practice is like, all right, if after a certain amount of people, you don't engage this one, or don't engage people that stand on this side, or don't engage people that appear overly aggressive, whatever it is. We'll never know.
The policy is, if that's the policy, you follow the policy. Then yes, we can't charge you with being a bum, but I get it. Listen,
but again, like, so that I don't, I'm just throwing this out there, like, to say, like, it could be nothing in the policy manual that says that you do these things, and like you said, it could just be a coward hiding behind a costume, that they had a bad day, or they have these feelings, or whatever, and this is their way to inflict pain on people and hide their face. I
want to go home. Fuck you.
Man,
that was unfortunate to see. And then Sesame Street start in Harlem.
Yeah. It's supposed to be based on Harlem. But the thing is also, like, I heard something like Sesame Street itself, and I don't know how true this is, but Sesame Street itself actually doesn't own Sesame Place. Like, Sesame Place is owned by another entity or something like that.
I know who.
The irony is it SeaWorld, maybe?
SeaWorld owns
Sesame Place, right? No, but you know what the irony of this is? Isn't Sesame Street, in fact, like one of the most inclusive places?
Yes, let me tell you something. Rosita is the first bilingual Muppet from Mexico. Come on, son. Teaching kids Spanish out here, bro. Come on, man. Like, don't do that. Not with the kids, especially with the babies, because the babies are impressionate. That little girl's never gonna forget that. The kids are gonna never forget Grover and Elmo didn't say hi, son. Even if Elmo wasn't even looking that way, they're gonna remember he ain't look this way.
That goes back to what I was saying, though, Rob, about people being, the hypersensitive and hypervigilance. Because I don't know if I share the video with you. I think I shared it with you with the they was somewhere, and Elmo made it a point to show the other lady, like, nah, this kid trying to get your attention, go address this kid or whatever, because now it's on everybody's radar. So everybody out there looking around like, well, are you really about to walk past this kid without acknowledging the kid?
You better shake everybody's hand when you in them costumes now. Boy.
Now, okay, so here's my other thing or whatever. Like, so what do you say to these sports figures that go into the tunnels after the games and they only slap like certain people's hands? Like certain kids, you see all them kids. That's always a pet peeve.
Some kids be getting dissed.
That's always a pet peeve that I have, Rob. Like, I would see certain players go into the tunnel, put their hands up, and slap fives at everybody going down there. But
they say be careful when you meet your heroes, because you might not like them.
Exactly. But now you look at it and it's like certain people. So how, if you on the other end of that, if I'm on the other end of that and I'm a baseball player and I'm out on the field signing autographs or whatever, and I don't sign an autograph of, how you call it, me being a person of color, white kid, are people gonna be like, yo, this is reverse discrimination. You signed all the black kids autographs, but you didn't sign this one white kid.
They gonna hang you, son.
So like, yo, how do they mitigate something like that? How do they deal with that? You gotta shake every hand, sign every autograph, take every picture.
There are athletes that actually do that, and then you have the ones that be like, nah, I just throw a sweaty t-shirt out there.
Yo, I would never, honestly, in this day and age, I don't know if I would ever sign an autograph. I just take a picture. I would just lean over and be like, "You want to take a picture with me?"
Group picture like this. All right, everyone get in it. Bang. All right, got it.
Yo, text.
It's on his phone. Get his number and make sure he texts it to you.
Yo, I would just be like, yo, when everybody we could get I would do a picture probably before I would do an autograph. Now, so $25 million is the lawsuit. What is the $25 million for? Are they arguing that it's trauma, like some sort of psychological
Yeah,
damage?
I didn't. You know what? And I seen it. It's for trauma and a couple other things. Like because of how impressionate children are. She's 5 years old. They don't forget that. You know, children go to bed with nightmares, and you know this might have been her favorite favorite character, watching Sesame Street every day. And to finally meet her. I mean, some kids are terrified of them things.
Oh yeah.
I know a child. I won't name her. I won't name her personally, but I was
adults are terrified of them too.
Your son. I was in Sesame Place, and this one particular child saw Abby. And let me tell you, you talk about fear. I've never seen a child eyes wide, so wide, and the fear alone. Child shit on herself right there. Just stood there and shit on herself. I said, damn. Yeah. That's some fear for your ass right there.
Has SeaWorld released a statement yet? I don't think have they.
I don't even expect SeaWorld to even get involved, to be honest.
You think they're gonna cut a check for $25 million? Huh?
Nah, they probably settle out.
Here's a lifetime.
They're gonna settle out with something.
Lifetime
tickets. Yeah, lifetime parking pass.
To go back to the place that you got traumatized at.
or you just go to SeaWorld in California. Anytime you come to California.
Yo, here, take these tickets for the place that you got traumatized at and go back and relive it.
They're gonna give them a bonus, the bonus package.
Yo, you know what's bugged though? You see now dudes in the hood is setting it off on like the fake low budget people that be in a costume. Like if you go downtown.
Oh, the fake Elmo.
Giving Elmo hood Elmo hands.
So Elmo and Dora getting jumped right now, son. Elmo, Dora, Big Bird.
They got nothing to do with it. Like, yo, come on, you know, Elmo and Sesame Place is the right color. Elmo in the hood is more of a dingy brown than red.
Whole rolled over rug, son.
But he gotta take the beating for how you call it.
That's not a good occupation in the hood now. Don't put the costume. Niggas is gonna come for you, son. Like you out here dissing kids, huh? Right? You're not giving kids no love, Elmo.
Oh, yo, I don't know why they don't even try to make those. Maybe for copyright purposes, they don't even be trying to make those costumes look like.
They don't look not like the original. They look lopsided, eyes twisted, should be all off. Like, my God.
Yo, man, not to digress, but could you imagine if like Marvel, Sesame Street, some of these people who actually licensed these characters decided that they was going to try to file lawsuits or do cease and desist on some of these, yo, because people put on a costume or anything, you'd be like, that ain't Big Bird, yo. What the hell is that? Like, oh man. Yo, dude, this is wild. Oh man. Yo, so Russia and China is now teaming up for
bro.
global reserve currency, and I wanna read a little bit so people have an understanding of this, right? Because it's not just Russia and China. This was called the BRICS countries. So we're looking at Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Yeah. You know,
you said India.
Yep. India, China, and South Africa, and I don't know about you, Rob, but I personally feel like that there's a direct correlation between this and what's going on in Ukraine and the sanctions that have been imposed to Russia. You know, the fact that China is as perpetually competitive with the US. So I think that this is a good opportunity for them to become allies with Russia. And I think that this really speaks to them trying to really decimate the U.S. dollar.
That's what their goal is, because after Russia bombed Ukraine, they put the pressure on it, man. I mean, the money that they had is like a third of their money they couldn't touch. They couldn't do what they would normally do. So they got with China, who is a big enemy of the United States as well.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't like the fact that Nancy Pelosi was in Taiwan just recently, so we got that energy. Um, you know, the dollar's not backed by anything but debt, and we're 3 trillion in debt now. I think it's smart to use minerals as a resource to back their dollar, whether it's the ruble or I don't even know the other dollars what they mean, but the ruble is Russian dollar. But to use minerals, and I tell people all the time, man, people see me with these crystals, I wear crystals and stones and all that. Let me tell you something, man. It's going back to the planet, man, and the earth, and how important it is to value these things that we do not take value in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even we may even need to look and invest in some iron and some salts and
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, in certain things, because we're reverting back to that. And the dollar hasn't been back since our last 100 years, to be honest with you. So we're just living off of pure debt. How will that affect America? Well, Brazil, India, South Africa, I mean, they're the leaders in gold, copper, platinum, all the things that we probably use, iron ore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Ore, period. 80% of ore come out of China. That's why they building so many things. If you look at China's their metropolises and their big areas,
Yep.
they're majestic because they control so much iron ore. So they can build anything the hell they want. What does America have? What are we sitting on that we can dig into our soil and usurp it? I mean, California was laced with gold, but we don't practice that type of thing. We don't even want to use the oil that we have here.
I always tell people our biggest chief export is entertainment.
That's it.
And that ain't coming out the ground.
And what's crazy is that the wealth that America has was standing on gazillions of just value between oil, between diamonds, between all that stuff is here too. But American ain't, they're not on it like that. They're not on it like China, they're not on it like Brazil.
Well, you know why? Because there's like a whole bunch of if you think back, like one of the biggest subjects in recent years and like these presidential debates have been discussions around fracking and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of people, there are people that's for it, that's pro, and there are people who have a lot of opposition to actually attempting to tap into these natural resources on US soil. When you look at but the irony of it is you look at like some of the people from yesteryears that were big and made big money, like the Ross Perot's and people like that. These were people who tapped into oil reserves in the country.
Tapped into the resources right here, bro. Mm-hmm. And we got tons of it, man. There's tons of it here, but that's not the mindset of U.S. wealth. But the world's wealth is going to start taking notice, because if they manage to create this new currency that rivals the dollar, then what? But then you got central banks that are looking to diversify other holdings and currencies and giving other countries like Switzerland an opportunity for their money to flow in the banking scheme of how money flows.
Well, everybody wants to do some type of business with Switzerland because of their loose banking regulations. That's why anytime you start hearing people talking about bank accounts, I got a bank account in Switzerland and
Cayman Islands and
like those offshore accounts and stuff like that. I just think that this to me is sort of like the repercussions of when the U.S. gets overly involved in affairs that don't necessarily concern the U.S. Like, I understand the rationale behind providing assistance to allies, but I also think that plays different when you start talking about a Russia. Like Russia's a superpower. right? So when you get involved in providing aid and assistance to Ukraine, you know,
Well,
Russia,
yeah, superpower.
yeah, Russia's not like saying, you know, like going having beef with Mexico. You know, so there's gonna be like dust up and bigger implications as a result of this. Like, you know, you start looking at the sanctions that they impose, like there's gonna be a difference in trade and stuff like that. Like there's gonna be a lot of fallout as a result of this. That to me, the impact of Russia and Ukraine is gonna be long withstanding for years to come in terms of relationships for US. And you know, I'm not saying that the US is not doing the right thing, because again, like, you know, when you enter into these peace treaties, these NATOs and different things like that, like part of the deal is that you have to be an ally, be a loyal ally, and provide assistance to these not companies, excuse me, these countries,
right?
You know, and stuff like that. And I think that they're fulfilling their end of the bargain, you know, and I think that this sort of separates where we currently are with Biden versus Trump. I think Trump was kind of more so like, yo, we stand on our own, you know, it's all about whatever our own interest is, you know, and to me, there's value in that, you know, to only be concerned about what the United States interest is. But the only thing about it is that the world is bigger than the United States. And there may be a day that we need to tap into some of these allies for resources also.
Yeah, man.
So it's really important, I think, on how you go about managing those relationships. Well, with all relationships, you know, like there's always going to be, again, like there are bigger implications as it relates to this stuff. And to me, like this new global reserve is like one of the things of China and Russia having foresight and saying like, okay, so this is what they're doing, this is what we're going to do to combat it, you know. And that almighty US dollar that people, you know,
US just want to be bullies, man, because even, you know, Gaddafi tried to do that, make the African Union, where he wanted to unite all the African countries, and he had the means to back his money with by gold. 100% gold was going to be backed by 100% gold, but we see how that event turned out. I mean, listen, man, I tell people this: invest in minerals, invest in crystals, invest in these natural resources that we use and don't take advantage of every day, because they're going to be used. They're going to be part of our lively history, man, and how we move on forward. So, you know, this dollar's going to get challenged. If you think about moving and traveling other places, they say, "No, we don't take the dollar."
Yeah. Yeah, and you know something too, to boot, like even beyond the minerals, like China has the digital infrastructure also.
Yeah.
To make things happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of copper. Technology, son.
Yeah, you know,
a whole
China
lot
has,
of copper. Let me tell you something. Russia is what we usurped 50% of our grain and wheat from Russia.
Was
we ain't getting that now? Yeah,
was you mean?
You got India. I know we probably do some business with India, South Africa. I mean, these are places that are just lit. The litany of just natural stuff that they have that just get, you know, circulated throughout the globe, and then niggas just gonna make a left turn around the U.S. like, we ain't fucking with them. Let's go this way.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of rerouting and rethinking of trades and stuff like that. And you know, people may not realize that we've already been impacted. We've already felt a slight impact in the day to day when people were buying those cars, and you know, not specific to Russia and Ukraine, but with the pandemic, when people were buying those cars and those cars sat on boats forever, or those cars sat at dealerships because they didn't have the chips and all that stuff or whatever. So what do you think is going? What do you think is going to happen? Like, not all war is fought with a gun,
right?
You know, like
I tell you, we in a biological war too. This biochemical stuff that's coming out. Be very on point about this.
Yeah. So, well, that concludes this episode. It was good catching back up, Rob, and talking about these current events. And like I said, like some of these topics we know been in the news cycle.
It's like 30 more topics.
yeah, a lot. Yo, there's a lot going on.
Bro.
We gonna get back to our weekly routine though, and get our lives going again, so everybody can pull up and tune in. Any closing words?
Shout out to my nigga Zane for one. Man, let me tell you something, man. Just for people to be aware, because there's so much happening, whether it's country, whether it's global, whether it's local, whether it's gender specific, whether it's religion. Let me tell y'all something, man. Please, if you don't do nothing else for yourself, keep a great sense of love for yourself. Like, really take care of yourself mentally. If you know your life is in a rut, it's a right to ask for help. You got to sit there by yourself. There's a lot of people they're saying to themselves, I don't want to be a burden. If you keep repeating that to yourself, you are the burden to yourself.
Mm.
Ask for help. I mean, you ain't got to sit and wallow in the misery of what you're going through, because what you're going through, there's 30 other people going through it, if not worse.
That's a fact.
So I encourage people to love themselves more, to, just investigate what you got going on around you just a little bit more, so you're aware just a little bit more, and, and enjoy it the best way you can, because a lot of people are out here miserable and they don't know how to get out of their own way.
Mm-hmm.
But you're in your way, so it starts with you. And
Mm-hmm.
the first thing you can do is keep a healthy love and a healthy, great idea about yourself,
There you go.
man.
Peace out, everybody. We'll catch you next week. Salute.
Peace.